you playing like for fan controlled, right? It's not fan controlled. So how does that contract work? Like, do you have an agent?
Mm-hmm.
You do have an agent. Like when you were picking out your agent, right? When
Mm-hmm.
did you pick out an agent? Like starting off in high school, or when you left high school, or did you wait till you got to college?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't have an agent until after my first contract in the FCF. I didn't even know how to go about looking for one. I didn't know about nothing. Like
Right.
coming from a small town, you don't you don't hear stuff like that. You don't even know. I know one professional athlete before I even got to play in the LCF. Like I
Mhm.
didn't even, and he didn't even have an agent. So like I didn't even know how to even get to that point. I didn't know how to get looked at by coaches. I didn't know none of this. So like I had to go. I honestly had to go through YouTube and like
Mhm.
watch videos and had to learn my own way. Just like far as football went,
Mhm.
training and stuff, I had to like go through YouTube and teach myself how to do all kinds of stuff. Because like my
Yeah.
father and
Mhm.
like my father didn't play. My father
Mhm.
was a basketball player. They
Mhm.
really wanted me to play basketball. My mom was a softball player.
Mhm.
So they didn't really know much about football. So that's just how it was. Like age, as far as agent wise,
Mhm.
I didn't. I had no idea. I had no idea what to look for. I just
Mhm.
honestly was looking for a good person. Like that's all. I
Mhm.
was like, if I can find a good person in this field, I can sit down and interview and talk to them. Then I
Mhm.
can work with them no matter what. Because if you're a good person and a hard worker, I feel like you can go a long way anyways. Like that's one of the key things just in general with me.
Mhm.
You may not have 1,000 NFL athletes, but you got a strong will to succeed and you got a strong heart. I love
Mhm.
you. Let's do it. Let's
Right.
do it.
And and if you could say like what do you love the most about playing for fan controlled right now?
Um, they gave me an opportunity. From being honest, that's the number one thing for me. When COVID hit and stuff like that, I thought football was over for me. I thought FCF. If I'm being honest, it changed my life. Like I came up here and started playing in Atlanta. I didn't realize it was gonna get to where it was. I didn't realize it was gonna get like it was gonna start increasing in popularity. I didn't realize none of that.
Mhm.
I got in, started playing, and all of a sudden I'm starting to hear my friends talk to me like, "Hey, bro, you was on this, you was on this, you was on this." I
Mhm.
ended up seeing myself on ESPN one time. It was crazy. Like
Yeah.
as far as how everything was hitting me all at once. Now if I'm being honest, I it's crazy it sounds. I don't even have to play in the NFL anymore. Like
And why is
as
that?
far because yeah, I was because now now that you got that brand behind yourself, like far as the professional athlete goes,
Mhm.
as long as it was like a notable source, like the like FCO became like a very notable thing. As
Mhm.
long as it was that, and say for instance, if I'm in did really well in that, I wanted to try to build an empire as far as like how I wanted to have my office and how I wanted to do things because
Mhm.
honestly football is definitely it's in the top 5 but it's number 5.
Yeah.
So so like football is a big part of my life and it has changed my life but it's not necessarily who I am. So I it being in the LCF them gave me so many friends, so many different connections. Like I got on like a Zoom call with Quavo. Like like the amount of people that I met in this whole in this thing. Like Shaq was even at a game. Like it's just it's crazy as it sounds. I'm
Mhm.
real big on connections and real big on speaking to people.
Mhm.
The money and stuff like that, it'll come. But I'm enjoying. I really FCO gave me more than what they even think they gave me.
Wow.
If I'm being honest, so I'm very very blessed to be in the position I am, and I'm definitely gonna strive to be in the NFL.
Right.
Shoot, I'm definitely gonna push to get there, but
Mhm.
I just enjoy it. I'm blessed to be where I am. They gave me a whole lot, and I honestly didn't even think I was gonna like I knew I could get to this point, but I didn't know how to get to this point. And so when
Mhm.
I go home, people talk to me. People ask me how did I get there? How did I do this? How did I do this? Kids come up to me, speak to me. They ask to train. I get DMs all the time asking me to come train them. I got professional soccer players that want to do different drills that I do that play
That's
overseas.
awesome.
So it's like it's it became more than football once I got in. Once I actually got to that level, like it's so much fun.
Wow. With Lamar Jackson making that deal, I
Mhm.
think that also brings in like a safe space, with athletes. Because what if, some athletes go through the sexuality issues? Some athletes have the mental health issue where they don't really recognize it, or they don't know how to really go about bringing it to the forefront and talking about it. So
Mhm.
I think that, having your mom there in your corner, in that realm, I think that it's very healthy too. I think you're also thinking about, like, what you're going to do for plan B, or, life after football too, right? You're kind of setting up for that. As you get older, where do you, see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? Ideally, where would you want to be?
Yeah, in 5 to 10 years, I definitely see myself as this big time Cairo that's doing more than just adjusting, doing rehab, doing fixing headaches, fixing certain diseases, stuff like that. I definitely see myself doing more than just that.
Right. So you don't plan on, like, say if going to the NFL, and somebody like T.O., for example, he wants
Hmm.
to get back in the NFL. Would you kind of go through a journey like that where, you stay in the NFL as you get older?
I definitely see myself staying in the NFL, or it's like if I was to get to the NFL
Mhm.
or win, I gotta say win.
Yeah,
So
when.
when I get to the NFL, I definitely see myself staying in it for a while. The thing about it is, as my journey goes on, I figured out that I could do. I've been thinking long and hard trying to figure out how I can do it, but I can own an office while I'm still doing football. So I could, like, while football is going on, because it lasts only like 4 months. In the off season, I can still train, but I can also still run my office. I can still come in to adjust people, have people that work underneath me that does a good job just in general, and then I come in for the last eight months while I'm in the off season train, while I'm still making sure the patients are doing really, really well. So I just want to make sure it's a real friendly environment. So not only will they have access to, because a lot of people don't have access to a lot of guys that just play professional sports in general. So I want to
Mhm.
make sure they know that I am a normal person just like they are. So they can come
Yeah.
in, speak to me, enjoy themselves, get adjusted, get whatever they need to be fixed, rehab, anything like that. And I'm there for
And you're talking about playing indoor football,
them.
that you would be able to manage that, or you would be able to do that in the NFL too.
I think I'll be able to do it either way. I
Either
think I'll
way.
be able to find. I think I'll be able to find a way to be able to do it regardless. Because even in the off season of indoor, you still train, do things of that sort. And in the off season of the NFL, you still have to train. You go in with the team. You have OTA camps and stuff like that. But I can find time to manage. And say for instance, if I own my own Cairo business or anything like that,
Hmm.
have people working underneath me and manage it that way and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'd definitely be able to find some time to do that.
Yeah, somebody who does that is like Maurice Claret. He's in the medical field where he has people working up under him, and he goes in. He's hands on. He speaks with people and things of that nature. He's not like an active player. But he, former, I would say, you know, football
Mhm.
player that was pretty prominent. You know what I'm saying? What kind of investments would be important to you that you think that you could see yourself investing in if you haven't already?
Yeah, real estate, land.
Land.
Land is a big one. I'm from Mississippi, so it's a
Mhm,
lot of areas that's like just it's a lot of land there, just in
mhm,
general. And land is a big one because land is one of the things that, regardless of what happens, say for instance somebody wants to come and move on the property or anything like that, they end up having to pay you to even be on the property instead of you just buying a house on the property. It's
mhm.
different when you got land. When you got land, it's a lot of stuff that can be moved on it, but they still have to do the same type of. It's a whole different business behind it. It'll definitely be land.
Land. Yeah, that's a good idea because you could also, build businesses on that land. I mean, I'm not saying like have a business right next door to your house, but if it's like, big enough, you could. A lot of those things that you're talking about are sounds like a lot of your strengths, like what would make you a great athlete. So that's really inspiring to like younger athletes because I don't think that they always think about being able to juggle so much. They only just want to solely focus on football, right? Would you say that's kind of the culture that you've seen change over the years, or what do you
Mhm.
think? What are
And
some changes or differences that you see now?
now I'm starting to see more of showing what you can do other than just being an athlete.
Mhm.
Um, and it's starting to, it's starting to get to that point where people like to see what you do outside of just a sport.
Yeah.
So it may not be all the way there yet, but I'm trying to push it even more to let people know that you can be more than an athlete. You can be an educator, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can do other stuff outside of just being an athlete because you came in this world. I feel like you came in this world to at least change something, or at least leave something that's gonna better the next generation. So if I feel like we all have a responsibility in the world to kind of leave something behind that's prominent, that's gonna help out the world. Whether you think it's little or whether you think it's small, it may not be little to the next generation.
Mhm.
It may be way bigger than what you think.
Exactly. That's why it's important to touch on everything possible when you're on this type of platform, right? So,
Mhm.
for instance, like money management, right? Like we're seeing a lot of things, change for the better, like NIL and stuff like that. Recently, like Angel Reese, she's a woman in the WNBA.
Mhm.
Are you a fan or do you watch the
I watch
WNBA?
it a little bit. I can't say I watch it a lot.
Mhm.
I started turning it on recently, right, like a month or two ago. Like I started watching little clips here and there, or I started watching it because one of my friends actually, he turned it on, and so I was like, honestly, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna watch it because say for instance in the NCAA,
Mhm.
watching the women in the NCAA this year has been crazy fun. Like it's been so much fun to watch. So I was like, if they balling like that in college, I want to see what this WNBA talking about. So yeah, it was a
Right.
lot of fun.
I think it was also like the energy, the crowd, because it's not normally like that. I mean, it may be, and we just don't know, but I feel like it's always overlooked, and
Hmm.
like it's always just the males, like the guys. That's just
Hmm.
kind of what it's been like, as far as dominating, when it
Hmm.
comes to the NBA, WNBA. But the WNBA has been around for a long time and they've been making major moves. When it comes to like your friends, right? Do you have some friends that you consider like family?
Yes, definitely. I got a best friend. His name's Standish Dyson,
Hmm.
um, from Louisiana. But yeah, so I definitely he's a brother, a
Yeah.
hundred percent, 100% a brother.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you, actually collaborate or like communicate with your friends about some life hard decisions if it's something that you're comfortable with, or do you strictly just, talk to family only because you think that there is a line
Hmm.
that you have to, or like a boundary that you have to have when it comes to, not just social life, but your money management, your mental health? Like, do you have a preference on what you would rather open up to more?
I'm gonna be honest. I really far as like my friends and stuff like that go, my parents and just family.
Mhm.
If I'm really close to you and I call you a friend, you part of my family at that point. So it's like because I think really hard about who I be around. As crazy as it sounds, like I sit back, I talk a lot, but I watch a lot.
Okay.
So if I can call you my brother or my sister or anything like that,
Hmm.
I feel like I can talk to you about a lot of stuff. It ain't too many people that I already call that, but like if like I'm real open when it comes down to somebody that I believe I can trust.
Right. Like, and depending on who you have, or like who you have around you, that's just as important as well, right? Because you don't want to have people around you who are not really looking out for,
Mm-hmm.
your dreams and what you actually have going on or what stage you may be at in your life. For example, John Morant, right? So he just got suspended, for so many games. You have the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, making statements, about him being irresponsible. What were your initial thoughts like when you found out he's back in that same limelight about the same situation?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. My thought process when it first happened, it was like, yeah, you need to pick some new friends in my head. And then this next time it confirms it. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, like, yeah, I don't know what you got going on, but you need to pick some new friends or you need to separate. The hardest thing is sometimes is the people that you need to separate yourself from are some of the people that you even grew up with because they may not have the same thought process. They may not have the same dreams as you. They honestly may even be may envy you and you
A
don't
little
even know it.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So at the end of the day, like you gotta sit down and have a talk with yourself. And it's tough because some of them you grew up with and you just been around your whole life. And then I'm telling you, some of your best friends are, it's weird as it sounds, some of your best friends are some that you met like not even that long ago.
Mm,
Like you can find some really, 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 really good people that you met 2 years ago compared to somebody that you've been knowing for 14 years. Like it's kind of crazy. But
yeah.
that's just how it works sometimes. Eventually everything comes into the limelight and you start to figure out who your real friends are. So
Hmm.
you'll figure it out.
Right. But the point is that, he does need to evaluate who's around him, and that
Mm.
means picking better friends or a better social circle. What do you think about when like athletes like take to social media? Like they kind of like vent and let their emotions, be raw on social
Mhm.
media. Um, like he basically posted a couple of pictures where he was like, bye, as if like he didn't want to. Some people take it as like as if he didn't want to be here or like he was just taking a break from social media. Do you
Mhm.
think that's important, like to actually incorporate taking a break? Or do you think it has a lot more to do with like time management?
I'm gonna be honest. Far as taking a break, I could see him taking a break because how social media is in general, just
Mhm.
because of he has a lot of followers. That means he probably has a lot of people. Like he has a lot of people that already know about it. So he getting a lot of DMs, a lot of stuff that's just going on. So he probably definitely need to take a break.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like you don't have. I feel like you don't have to go to social media for a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Because some things you can talk amongst, you need to keep it within the circle. And
Mhm.
then other things I could see why some things you can take to social media just to kind of amp up some of the stuff, but like
Yeah.
far as big business and as far as like your life is concerned, I wouldn't take everything to social media, not even close, probably not even 99% of the stuff, because I
Mhm.
feel like social media can be taken so many different ways. You can write something and somebody could be reading it from 8 different angles and you never know. So it's like
Yeah.
it's very hard for me to take a lot of stuff to social media just in general because I just want to avoid all the extra stuff.
How do you actually like kind of block out like the negative comments, the criticism, how do you block that out, after a big game, even after a loss, like Miami Heat just lost. I'm sure like they received all types of, negative comments from some fans at least. But like, how do you handle that as an athlete? How do you block that out?
I'm gonna be honest. When I get on social media, say for instance, if we do bad or something happens or I do bad that game, I'll look at it. It gets to me a little bit. I'm human. It'll get to me a little bit, but then I close out the app, go to
Mhm.
bed, wake up the next morning, just say it's a new morning. Because I honestly, at the end of the day, I'm out there enjoying myself, having fun. I'm not gonna let nobody else take the fun away from it. I may have a bad game. I may be upset for a while, and someone may not ever know. I may be upset for a minute or two, but eventually I'm gonna get over it. Eventually I'm gonna get over it. So that's
Right.
I hold myself to a high standard, as in regardless how bad the game I played, the next one's gonna be way better than that. You don't really take L's. The L stands for lessons in my head.
Oh, wow. I
So
like that. I've never heard that. That's awesome. That's a good way to put a spin on it too, because that's a part of that positive self-talk instead
mhm,
of looking at it in a negative light. So, I mean, like when you say like you had a bad game, and you're in the locker room,
mhm.
um, I want to ask, what is like the whole locker room talk these days? What is that like? Has it always been the same to the stereotypical, guy talk, or is it different these days?
If being honest, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. It's whole lot of rah rah up in there, a whole lot of screaming, a whole lot of yelling. Um, and honestly, to some people, that's what gets them going, and the others they have to listen to music and just vibe by themselves. I'm
Mm,
a very very big I'm it's weird because I'm in between. Every now and
okay.
then I like the rah rah, and every now and then I want to just vibe. It's according on what kind of game it is, if that makes sense. All games are important, but not all games are treated equal, if that makes sense.
And like, have you ever had any type of experience or known of, a fellow athlete that basically, they are the ones being blamed in the locker room for that last play, or didn't catch the ball, or they just it seemed like they were not on their P's and Q's during the game and they got a lot of blame in the locker room. Have you ever experienced that or seen that?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely.
Mm,
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. As far as it like as coaches go, players go, stuff like that. A locker room is so many players to the
mm-hmm.
point that it's bound to be somebody that blames somebody. It's bound to be somebody that actually takes accountability, and it's bound to be somebody that complains about every little thing that pops up. Like it's
Okay.
definitely bound to be a bunch of them. So it's you have to go into it kind of knowing it. And I've been on the tail end of being blamed. And I've been on the tail end because I like to hold myself accountable for.
Mhm.
They tell me I hold myself accountable for probably too much, but I but at the end of the day, if I don't hold myself accountable, others. Sometimes I feel like others won't. So some people may look up to me because of the fact that I hold myself accountable, and they may end up
Right.
changing how they do stuff, and
Mhm.
or vice versa. So definitely.
And that's actually just going to carry you a long way outside of being an athlete too, holding yourself accountable for things.
Hmm.
Have you ever had an experience where, like a coach was being like, verbally abusive, or they said something that was like crossing a line, like, kind of out of bounds, like, you didn't have to take it that far. How do you
Hmm.
handle coaches like that?
Okay. So it was 1 year. It was 1 year for me, just in general. I don't really. My parents always taught me not to really, talk back to coaches, talk back to, and do stuff like that. So it was
Hmm.
1 year. The coach was just riding me every week, and eventually, you can only take so much. And
Hmm.
honestly, they didn't never really mess with me all the way up until that point. And
Hmm.
so it was like 5 weeks straight, and he messed around and just he said something to me. And now that I think about it, it was probably stupid because I can't even remember it.
Hmm.
So he said something to me, and I just had an outburst. Like, and I don't know. And honestly, I don't ever really have an outburst.
Hmm.
So honestly, most 99% of the time, I if they got something to say about it, they usually pull me to the side. Most of the coaches, or it's a big respect thing. But that
Hmm.
one day,
Hmm.
just telling you that one day was just different.
Was it?
I was holding a whole lot in, and I honestly apologize to him for it. But like, it's certain times where coaches definitely do cross the line.
Hmm. Is it,
And
and like, in what way? Can you give an example? Like, do they say things that are like, some people deal with like, going to a PWI, right, compared to HBCU. Like, so at a PWI, somebody may say something that they feel is like low key racist. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a lot of that, kind of like hidden, like indirect type of language, or is it just more like, situational because you just lost the game and you're just like full of emotion?
I'm gonna be honest. Most of it is 99% of the times the coaches react off situational. I haven't really me in general.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple of my friends and stuff tell me different, but me in general, I've never experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like some of my friends and stuff like that, I can't speak for them. So like, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like some of them have told me they've had those experiences, but most of the time mine has been situational. I guess they, yeah. Never- I just thinking about that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
So like, and were they at a PWI or HBCU
They
or
was at a PWI.
PWI? Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, like Jackson, Mississippi, right? They recently, not recently, they've always had some type of spotlight, but like with just like recently, a lot of people were gravitating towards that football program. And it
Hmm.
was really like a big eye opener into HBCUs from the football aspect.
Hmm.
And then, you have somebody like Deion Sanders who really cared and was passionate about making an impact, making a difference, giving back, and all of those type of things. But, eventually he did go to Colorado. So, I mean, I feel like people should be more understanding about when people make personal decisions about their lives. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying? Like all that responsibility can't be on that one black guy. Like,
100%.
make all the difference. He did what he could and he went and he did a great job and now he's on to the next part of his
And
life. So
I was going to say like, and that was a big one for me just in general because a lot of people was bashing him about the fact that he left
yeah,
JSU,
yeah.
and I was just sitting there I was talking to a couple of friends just in general
Hmm.
about it, and I started seeing it on the internet and they was bashing him. I was just telling my friends, I was like, he did a great job in Jackson, and now people are mad because he's moving on to another step. I was
Yeah.
like, they're mad because he's taking another step, and that's so upsetting to me because it seems like yeah, they were very very happy and like enjoyed that he came, but they
Hmm.
started to forget that he was a human being too. Like his responsibilities was not. He came and over exceeded his responsibilities. He came in and over exceeded every expectation that everybody ever had.
Hmm.
And to show that HBCUs could actually participate and do a great job at what they do, he did it. And
Right.
so for him to have that responsibility to stay 20 years or something crazy, that's
Right.
not on him. Especially if he can put his family in a better situation or just in general. He seems like in a pretty good situation.
Yeah.
But far as like his next generation of his he have nephews, nieces, he have anything like that, he want to make sure he's setting everything up. And he's doing a great job at doing that, just being a parent. Just being
Yeah.
just being a human being, just in
Yeah.
general.
It
So
is.
yeah.
And you know what? I mean, he's also making an impact there because they need more
Hmm.
coaches like him there too. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So there is still a win-win in that. It's not just like taking it as a loss, as in like, he left Jackson State and now we're left with this. But
Hmm.
no, like you're left with something great, something that he brought, and it's been it's a very impactful. So that's really inspiring to hear, and it's really a breath of fresh air because you just don't hear that these days. Everybody has different dreams and goals, but when you're able to put football at number 5 on your list, I mean, and still reach the level that you are and continuing to push and keep going, I think that's just something that needs to be heard. So I'm excited to share this